coached with the 49ers for 4 seasons, led them to a Super Bowl before moving on to Michigan. Harbaugh in LA today to meet with the Chargers for a second time. Now, that information has been out there. Jim Harbaugh, the only coach to go for a second interview. Harbaugh.
This has been without a doubt one of the most riveting NFL head coaching hiring cycles that we've ever seen in NFL history, which is why I said I was so frustrated by the Dallas Cowboys keeping Mike McCarthy. Nothing against Mike McCarthy, but how often do you get the opportunity to be able to choose between Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, and Jim Harbaugh as a potential head coach? And it looks like the LA Chargers realized the opportunity at hand. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop, like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications to help the channel grow. Now let me get all that out of the way. Break! This is the easiest way to make $150 now. All Christian McCaffrey needs in the NFC Championship is 1 rush yard, which means he's pretty much a free square on Prize Picks. All you have to do is download Prize Picks, use my promo code Mikerophone to double your deposit up until $100, and then make these picks. I got Isaiah Pacheco scoring 1 touchdown and Harrison Butker making more than 1.5 field goals. Isaiah Pacheco has scored 1 touchdown over the last 5 games. Harrison Butker has been on a field goal frenzy, and I placed $24 to make $150, which are incredible odds. I post my picks for free on a daily basis on my Instagram and Snapchat story, and thank you Prize Picks for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? So far, the biggest surprise in terms of NFL head coaching hirings at the time that we're recording this video is the fact that the Tennessee Titans fired Mike Vrabel and decided to bring in Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan as their brand new head coach. And it's not that Brian Callahan doesn't deserve a job. I just felt like it was shocking to move on from Vrabel and bring in Callahan. And the plot could really thicken as a result of this move. Bear in mind that the Cincinnati Bengals' future is definitely uncertain, at least in terms of their offensive weapons. Jamar Chase needs to get a huge contract extension, and at the same time, T. Higgins is also up for a contract extension. The Tennessee Titans also have a need at wide receiver. They just hired Brian Callahan to be their head coach. T. Higgins is a free agent this offseason, and this would be a situation where he could be the undisputed wide receiver 1 for the Tennessee Titans. And apart from that, we're sitting here waiting. We don't know where Belichick's going to go, although he had his second interview with the Atlanta Falcons, and it seems like ironically the Falcons might be the leader for him. We don't know who the Seahawks are going to hire. I have a hunch that the Commanders are probably going to hire Ben Johnson, which brings us to the Carolina Panthers, which, I'm sorry, Panthers fans, I guess I'm not as excited for the head coach that's going to take the Panthers job because I don't know what coach could resurrect that team. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't want to come off as a hater. It just seems like that team has just dug such a huge hole for themselves that I don't know how you get out of it. I don't know what coach could get them out of it, but I hope I'm wrong. I want you guys to succeed. It just seems like the odds are stacked against you, and as a result, I'm not as juiced up for the Panthers head coaching opening as I am for maybe the Commanders or the Falcons, or probably my favorite opening in all of the NFL, which is the LA Chargers. So far, we know that Gerard Mayo is going to be the head coach of the New England Patriots. We know that Antonio Pierce is going to be the head coach of the Raiders, but we still are wondering where the Chargers going to bring in. My prediction in the middle of the season, as you can tell from the numerous amounts of photoshops I've made of Bill Belichick in a Chargers uniform, was Bill Belichick was destined to go to Los Angeles. It sounded like a home run. You go to LA and enjoy sunny Los Angeles as you try to resurrect the team that is pretty much the Clippers of the NFL for Los Angeles, a team that has been the laughing stock of the California area over the past 2 decades. I hate to admit it, but it's the truth. A team that has come so close to excellent, but each and every year they just don't. But it seems like I'm wrong. The Chargers have other plans in mind. You see, the Los Angeles Chargers, in my opinion, have everything you possibly would need in order to win a Super Bowl, at least from a talent perspective. I believe in Justin Herbert as a quarterback. I think their wide receiver core, when fully healthy, can be one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL. Austin Eckler kinda took a step back at the latter part of the season. Their offensive line is solid, and that's before we get to their defense with Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, assuming that they retained everyone, Derwin James when he's fully healthy, and since they didn't make it to the playoffs, they have a higher draft pick than usual. The problem with the Chargers is historically, they've always hired incompetent head coaches. And ironically, it's always head coaches that are just terrible with situational football, which is why I felt like the Bill Belichick hiring would have made so much sense, because Bill Belichick is the king of situational football. But it seems like they want a splashier hire. They want a guy that has unfinished business. They want a guy that kind of has ties to the LA area. He did coach at Stanford. That individual is Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh had his second meeting with the LA Chargers on Tuesday, and there's a lot of people that were questioning whether or not this was going to be the gig. On one hand, you can make an argument that Jim Harbaugh just finished resurrecting Michigan. They just won a national championship. Why would he leave after a national championship victory for his alma mater? At the same time, this is when Jim Harbaugh's value is at its absolute peak. This man is the king of selling on his hype. Whether it's in the case of the San Francisco 49ers during his first stint in the NFL, going to 3 NFC championships, and then realizing that this team was about to collapse, which is when he got paid a significant amount of money to go back to college to coach Michigan, or right now, not so much that he understands Michigan's about to collapse, but everyone views him as one of the most coveted head coaches in the entire NFL. And for the right amount of money and the right job, he'll jump ship back into the NFL. And Chargers fans feel very conflicted about this potential hire. It seems like it was between two individuals, the first being Jim Harbaugh, and the second being another proven head coach, and that's Pete Carroll. Although Pete Carroll is about the same age as Bill Belichick, it sounds like he still wants to coach.
I'm freaking jacked. I'm fired up. I'm not tired. I'm not worn down. You guys tried your best. You didn't wear me out. It's the end of the season. I'm supposed to be, go lay on a cot somewhere. I ain't feeling like that. And, there's what's coming. I don't know. I got no idea. And I really don't care right now. But I do. I'm excited about it because there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to study. There's some great discoveries that are going to come our way. And as my all-time mentor, Bud Grant, said, not in so many words, there's rivers to wade, there's waves to catch, and there's mountains to hike. And it wasn't exactly how Bud said it, but I get it. And that's some cool stuff that we're going to do here.
And we found out on Tuesday that a huge push was being made by Pete Carroll for the Chargers vacancy at head coach. Mike Vrabel's also reportedly in the mix. Again, you can't really go wrong here. There's so many good proven head coaches that could put you in Super Bowl contention that are clear upgrades over Brandon Staley. Bear in mind, when you're going from Brandon Staley to Mike Vrabel, or Brandon Staley to Pete Carroll, or Brandon Staley to Jim Harbaugh, there's not going to be a single Chargers fan that's going to sit there and say,
damn, I really miss Brandon Staley. He would know what to do in this situation. We messed up firing him.
So according to Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, it is official. The Los Angeles Chargers are hiring Jim Harbaugh as their next head coach. I think it's very exciting when one of the top head coaches in college football returns to the NFL, especially a head coach that has been proven in the NFL. This man was one of the most exciting head coaches in the NFL in the early 2010s, and he's proven that whenever you give him the right tools and the right players and a talented group of individuals, he'll get the best out of them. He had Alex Smith playing his best football of his career. He had Vernon Davis and Michael Crabtree playing the best football of his career. And he did it through a power running scheme that was paired with a suffocating defense that featured the likes of Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis. Now it's going to be exciting to see how Jim Harbaugh is able to do this exact same thing, only with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack and Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen. Completely different weapons, but this is a head coach that has proven to me in years past that he can make it work. No, at the end of the day, whoever you hire is a clear upgrade over Brandon Staley, but obviously some of these hires are more splashy than others. For some individuals that say that the Jim Harbaugh hire would not work.
If you were Justin Herbert, what do you think about this?
I wouldn't be real happy about it because he's an old school coach.
Now, I could understand that argument. I mean, the best head coaches know what to do to put their teams into situations to win a Super Bowl. And in the case of Jim Harbaugh, he's going to have to figure out how to make it work with a quarterback that is completely different than the quarterbacks he's inherited during his first stint in the NFL. When Jim Harbaugh coached the San Francisco 49ers, he had a glorified draft bust as a QB at the time in Alex Smith, but he figured out how to use use Alex Smith and quite literally saved his career. Alex Smith goes down and he decides, hey, I want a dual threat QB like Colin Kaepernick to pair with our suffocating defense. And you can make a very legitimate argument that Colin Kaepernick revolutionized the NFL and provided the blueprint for a lot of schemes that you see today. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Jim Harbaugh would potentially do this with Justin Herbert, who isn't a dual threat QB at all whatsoever. They have other weapons such as, again, a very deep wide receiver core when they're healthy, a quarterback that could throw the ball for 50 yards plus, and once again, a suffocating defense. So the big question is, would Harbaugh be able to adjust his offensive scheme to the skill set of Justin Herbert? Or will there be a gigantic clashing at the end of the day? Let me know in the comment section down below, how do you guys feel about this hiring, man? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.